Hi guys, and welcome to Sade Crochets. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and hit the notification bell. For this tutorial, I will be using I Love This yarn in the color Peacock. So this will be my main color, and then I know I don't have the packaging for this, but this is I Love This yarn in Hot Rose, and that'll be my trim color. And then you'll also need a measuring tape and a pair of scissors. And the hook size that we're going to use today is a G hook, a 4mm hook. I just got this hook by Nelson Wood. It's so cute. Okay, so let's get started. I wanted to talk about some of the measurements you might need. So I'm going to put a picture up right now. And so you really only need two main measurements. I'm going to give you my recommendations for every size, but I will always double check my work and make sure that I'm achieving the measurements that fit my body, because we're all different, right? So the two main measurements you need on the picture, you can see, will be your torso length. This is just under the breast and going down to the waistline where you want your bikini bottom to stop or start. That is your torso length. And then you'll also need your crotch depth. And that's like kind of how long you need your bikini bottom to be. So go ahead and get those two measurements, and then you can follow along with me and just double check and make sure that you're hitting those measurements as close as possible. Okay? So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and make a slip knot. Okay, so shown in this video, I'm going to be making a size small. So for a size small, we're going to go ahead and chain out 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so chain 15 for a size small. For size medium is also 15. A size large will chain out 17. A size extra large will chain out 19. And a size 2X will chain 21. If your size is past that, then just go ahead and kind of do your measurements and see. So 2X would be 21 chains. So a 3X would probably be 23. And it just goes up by 2 from there. Just make sure that you have an odd number. Okay, so no matter how many chains that you have for your size, go ahead and chain one more, and that will be your turning chain. And we're going to go across this first row with single crochets. So skip this first chain on your hook, your turning chain, and go into the second chain on the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Okay? So just regular single crochets all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end and show you what to do next. Okay, so once you get your first row of single crochets, go ahead and chain one and turn your work. And then we're going to do 2 more rows of single crochets just all the way down. So I will have 3 rows total of 15 single crochets, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so once you have your 3 rows of single crochets, go ahead and chain one and turn your work. And this particular stitch that we're going to do is called the Alpine stitch, okay? So the first row of this stitching is going to be double crochets. So go ahead, I'm going to make 15 double crochets in this row. If you have a different size, just make the same amount as you have for your sides, okay? So yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, okay? Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two for your double crochets, okay? And so just go ahead and complete this row. The Alpine stitch kind of doesn't really start until the third row. So we have one row of double crochets, and then we'll have one row of single crochets. Okay, so go ahead and finish this row. So we have our first row of double crochets, then you chain one and turn your work. And now for this next row, we're just going to do the same thing but single crochets. So I'm going to do 15 single crochets across this row, and then I will show you what's next. Okay. Okay, so far you should have 3 rows of single crochets, 1 row of double crochets, and then 1 more row of single crochets. Okay, from here chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to get started on the actual Alpine stitch, which is that cute pattern that we have. So I have a message here for my beginners. This is a little bit of a harder stitch, and I am going to make a more simplified one-piece bikini that's similar and more beginner friendly. But don't be afraid to try new things, okay? That's how we push ourselves, that's how we grow, okay? So if you want to try, go ahead and try. It's not that hard once you get the hang of it. All right, so chain 1 and turn your work. And now in the first stitch, we're always going to do a double crochet in our first stitch. So do a double crochet. In the second stitch, we're going to do what's called a front post double crochet, but we're not going to do it in the single crochet row. We're going to look at this double crochet from the row below. So not this first one, because we did a double crochet here. We're going, instead of this second stitch, we're going to do a front post double crochet around this stitch. Okay, so yarn over, and then you want to insert your hook behind that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and when you pull this loop up, you kind of want to pull it up to the height at least above this single crochet here. So now, just like a regular double crochet, you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our front post double crochet. Okay, and since we did a double crochet in this spot, you can see that that double crochet, that stitch here has not been used, and we're going to skip this stitch. So every time you do a front post double crochet, you're going to skip that stitch because it's kind of like in front of it. Okay, so now we're going to do a regular double crochet, skipping this first stitch and going into the next one. Okay, so it's kind of like every other stitch. Okay, so let's do that again. We're going to skip this stitch for the front post and go to the next stitch. Okay, so yarn over, skip a stitch, and front post into the next stitch. So it'll be like every other stitch. So put your hook behind that stitch like that, yarn over and pull up a loop. pull that loop a little bit higher, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so you can see it's like every other stitch. So on the top here, you can see we're going to skip one stitch and do a regular double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over, skip that first stitch, and do a double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so we'll do that again, yarn over, and we're going to do another front post double crochet, skipping this stitch. Go to the next one and do another front post double crochet. Okay, and then again we're going to skip this one stitch and go to the second stitch and do a regular double crochet. Okay, continuing, we're going to do another front post double crochet, skipping one stitch. Pull that up a little bit higher. And then we're going to do a regular double crochet in the next stitch. So the way that you know that you're doing it right is if you turn it around, you'll see on the back there's going to be a double crochet starting off and a front post, and a double crochet and a front post, and a double crochet and a front post. So it's just every other stitch. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish this row with you guys. So yarn over, insert into the next front post, pull up a loop, pull it up a little higher to the next row, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to do a regular double crochet in that next stitch. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook around the front post of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull it up a little higher, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to do our regular double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and we have 2 stitches left, so we're going to do one more front post double crochet. So insert your hook around that second to last double crochet of the previous row, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and our last stitch is going to be a regular double crochet. Okay, so your first and last stitch will just be regular double crochets. And again, you can see on the back, you'll know that you're doing it right when you can see every other stitch is a regular double crochet with a front post in between. Okay, so from here, go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And this next row is pretty easy, so every time we do that step in a row, every time we have a row like that where we're doing front post double crochets, coming back we're just going to do single crochets going down. So I'm going to make 15 single crochets, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, from here we're going to chain 1, chain 1, and turn our work. So now we're back on the front side, and we're going to continue with our Alpine stitch. Okay, but as we're continuing with our Alpine stitch, we are going to start decreasing because this is the back of the bikini. Okay, so stay with me guys, especially if you're a beginner. Just take it one step at a time. It's not going to be that hard. So we're going to decrease in these first 2 single crochets here. So yarn over, insert into the first stitch, pull up a loop, insert into the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook, and you'll have 2 left, yarn over and pull through the last 2, and that was our decrease. So you can see that some of these have front post double crochets, and because the first one is always a regular double crochet, the second one was a front post double crochet, but since we decreased, that's on top of the front post double crochet. So our next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, okay, because we are going to alternate. So if the row below, you'll see, yarn over and do a front post double crochet into that third double crochet here, okay. So far you will have a decreased double crochet and 1 front post double crochet. On the next one, you'll see there's a front post double crochet here, and we're going to go every other row on each double crochet. So this one, like the row before it, is going to be, since we did a front post here, we're going to do a regular double crochet on top of this one, and just make sure that you're skipping that 1 double crochet here. Okay, once you get the hang of this stitch, it's going to be easy. Okay, so go ahead and do a regular double crochet next, and then we're going to go right back in and do a front post double crochet, just like alternating. Okay, and then a regular double crochet on top of the next one, and then a front post, double crochet, and then a regular double crochet next, and then a front post double crochet, and then a regular double crochet next, and then a front post double crochet, and a regular double crochet next, and then a front post double crochet. Okay, so you can see it's going to be every other row we're going to switch which double crochet we're going to do a front post on. Okay, and since we decreased by 2 in the beginning, you'll continue that until you have 2 double crochets left in this row. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert into the next chain space, the last one of this row, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that completes our next row. And go back and double check and make sure this row, because I started off with 15 and I decreased by 2, 1 on each end, now I should have 13 here. So just make sure that you did your decrease correctly. So if you started off with 19 chains at the bottom, this row should have 17. Okay, from here we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And again, this row is easy. We're just doing single crochets to get back to the other side. Okay, so I'll meet you there and show you what to do next. Okay, so once you finish your row of single crochets, chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so we're going to continue to decrease, and I'm going to do one more decrease row with you. So always in the first stitch we'll be decreasing by 2, so yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain space, pull up a loop, insert into the next chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our first decrease. Okay, and so our first 2 stitches are here, and that's above that. So our next one is going to be a front post double crochet. Okay, so yarn over, insert your hook behind around this stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 for a front post double crochet. In our next stitch, we're going to do a regular double crochet. Oops. Regular double crochet there. In our next stitch, it's going to be a front post double crochet. And a regular double crochet in our next stitch. And a front post double crochet. And then a regular double crochet in our next stitch. And a front post double crochet. And a regular double crochet in our next stitch. And a front post double crochet. Until you have 2 chain spaces left, and then we're going to do our next decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert into the last chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Do our single crochets on the way back. Okay, so this pattern is going to continue until you have 7 stitches in your row. Okay, I'm going to do one more row with you guys because the stitch is a little bit harder, but once you get it, I mean, you're going to fly through this. Okay, so now I have 11, so just make sure that each time you decrease that you do have 2 less than the row before it. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to do another decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the first chain space, pull up a loop, insert into the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your first decrease. From here, we're going to do our front post double crochet around the 3rd double crochet of the row under it, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then in the next stitch we're going to do a regular double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to do another front post double crochet, and then we'll do a regular double crochet, and then front post double crochet, and then a regular double crochet, and then a front post double crochet, until we have 2 chain spaces left, and then we're going to do another decrease. Okay, and then we'll chain 1 and do our single crochets on the way back. All right, so continue this pattern until you have 7 stitches in your row, and I'll meet you there and show you what's next. Okay, so I continue this pattern until I have seven stitches left in my row. And from here it's very similar, but it changes just slightly. So now we're going to go straight and stop decreasing. Okay, so yarn over, and in our first stitch we're always going to put just regular double crochets in our first and last stitches, no matter what. No front post or back post. Now this is where it gets a little interesting, because this next post is already a front post, so we're going to do one more regular double crochet on that row because we want to stay consistent on the pattern. Only the rows from the row before, only the ones that are not already front posted will be front posted, and that's what gives you that staggered look there. Okay, so the first one is regular, second one regular double crochets, and then the next one would be a front post. Okay, and then in the next one just a regular double crochet, and in the next stitch you'll do a front post, and in the last two you're just going to put 2 double crochets. Okay, so you should still have 7. And when you have 7, you'll have some rows that have 2 bumps, and then some rows will have 3, as you'll see coming up. So go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work and do your single crochets coming back down. Stitch will be a regular double crochet. So you'll see when you have the 7, one row will be with 3 and one row will be with 2, and I think if you have a different size, the order of that could be flipped. I'm not sure because I haven't made it, but continue this until you are until you have 5 rows of this, of the 7. Okay, so we've already done two Alpine rows, so you need to do this 3 more times. Okay, and I'll show you what's next. Okay, so once you've completed your 5 rows of 7 stitches, or 7 Alpine stitches, you want to make sure that you're in line to be with your halfway done with your full crotch length. So this is a size small, and for size smalls in general I do about 14 inches total length of the bikini bottom, so this is right on par with halfway. A medium would be 15 inches, a large would be about 16 inches, an extra large is 17, a 2X would be 18, a 3X might be around 19. So those are kind of like general sizes. So you just want to make sure that this is about halfway there before you continue. If it's not, if it's, you know, you can adjust, do one more row, or take a row away. Just trying to make sure before we keep going forward. Okay, but from here, now this completes the back half for me of the bikini bottom. And it looks like I am on my row of single crochets. I'm going to chain one and do a row of single crochets. And 7. So from here is the same. I recommend for everyone to do 3 more rows of the same stitching with the 7. So just continue 3 more times, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the back half was where you needed it to be. Okay, so make 3 more rows and we'll continue from there. So every one, no matter what your size, you should have 8 rows of the Alpine stitch, and you can count the bumps for every row to kind of make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This was my first row. So yeah, I have 8 of 7. And see, for the sizes above small, it gets bigger back here, not in the middle. Okay, so from here, now we're going to start increasing. So if you haven't already, go ahead and chain 1 and do your single crochets to get back to the other side. And 7. Okay, chain 1 and turn your work. So from here we're going to start increasing for the front. So go ahead and put 2 double crochets into this first chain space. Okay. And one more. And so from there we're going to continue our Alpine stitch. So this first stitch is already front post from the previous row, so we're going to do a regular double crochet here, and then a front post in the next double crochet, and then a regular double crochet in the next stitch, and a front post double crochet in the next stitch, and then a regular double crochet until we have 1 space left, and then we're going to increase just like we did on the other side of this row and put 2 double crochets into the last double crochet, into the last chain space. Okay, so now you should have 9 chain spaces up here, 9 stitches. Okay, from here, chain 1 and turn your work. Do your single crochets on down. And then chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, and now we're going to increase again. So yarn over and put two double crochets into this first chain space. 1 and 2. So now we're going to continue with our Alpine stitch, and you can kind of see here how you want to make sure that the stitch continues correctly. So this stitch we will need a front post double crochet, but this one we're going to skip even though it wasn't really used. We just want to keep with this pattern that's going already, if that makes sense. So in this next stitch we're going to do 1 regular double crochet, and then we're going to do a front post in this double crochet here. So I mean, just make sure that when you do it, you know, keep in line with the pattern before you. Front post, and then double, and then 1 more front post, and then 1 regular double crochet. And in the last stitch we are going to put 2 double crochets, and I'm going to do 1 more row with you guys of increase, because you'll start really seeing it after that. Chain 1 and turn your work, and now we're going to do our row of single crochets at it. Okay, and this row should have 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. Chain 1 and turn your work. And we're going to continue increasing, okay? So again, we'll put 2 double crochets in the first row. And then we're going to have to skip this one. You might have a different pattern. It might be every other one opposite from what's shown here, but just go along with your pattern. So if it's going to be in line with it, then put a double crochet, a regular double crochet here. If not, go ahead and put your front post. Just make sure that every other front post, make sure the front posts are on every other space in every row, so that you can keep that staggered front post thing going. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to ask me any questions. I know this stitch is a little bit harder, but I hope that really makes sense. So you'll be doing basically a front post in every other stitch from the row under it. It'll be the opposite. Okay, and then when you have 2 left, you'll do 1 double crochet regular, and then increase. Make sure you increase in your last chain space. So put 2 in your last chain space. Okay, so this pattern is going to continue. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now I have 13. For a size small, you want to continue this pattern until you hit 23 stitches in your row. A size medium, you'll want to to get 25 stitches in your row. A large maybe is 27. An extra large, I would also say would be 27. A 2X would be 29. So, and then it would just increase by 2 stitches for every size above that. So go ahead and complete your increases, and when you're done, we'll just make sure that this is about where you need it to be with your crotch length, okay? And then we can start on the top. But go ahead and finish your rows of increases, and I'll show you what's next. Alright, so I finished my rows until I had 23 stitches in this row, and you should be at where your size is. So a medium would have been, medium was 25 stitches, a large was 27, an extra large was also 27, and a 2X was 29. Okay, so you just want to go from this point and go back and double check and make sure that it could be a little bit shorter or a little bit over, but not by much. It should actually be a little bit shorter, so it should be a little bit shorter than 14 for me. Okay, so just make sure you have a decent length for your crotch, okay? From here, the reason why I say it could be a little bit shorter is because we're gonna do 3 more rows of single crochets like we did in the beginning. Okay, so once you are here, go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And we're going to actually do single crochets, but we're going to continue to increase. So in the first one, go ahead and put 2 single crochets into the first stitch. My 3 rows of single crochet, and my last row has 29 stitches, which is 6 more than where I started. Once you are done with that, go ahead and chain 1 and cut your work. And tie off. And congratulations, you completed the bottoms. Okay, so that part is complete. And now we're going to get started on the top portion. Congratulations on finishing your bikini bottoms, and we will pick up for the top part in part 2 of this video.